The Boeing Stearman was the primary trainer for the United States in World War II. It was responsible for carrying many famous pilots like Chuck Yeager, Neil Armstrong, and George H.W. Bush on their first solo flights. Today, I'm down at Classic Flyers Museum in Tauranga, New Zealand to go for a flight out over the beach in their 1943 Stearman. The Stearman is just one of the planes you can go for an adventure flight in here. They also have a CT-4 air trainer, T-6 Texans or Harvards, and an L-39 Albatross jet if you're looking for that Top Gun experience. If you're looking to buy someone a special gift, I can't recommend the Stearman enough for that pure joy wow factor experience. Check out the promo code in the video description to get some credit from their gift shop or cafe when you book a flight. Originally called the Model 75 Cadet, it was designed by Lloyd Stearman and first flew in 1934, the same year his Wichita-based Stearman Aircraft Company was acquired by Boeing. Lloyd Stearman was known for building strong, rugged, and reliable biplanes, and Boeing was interested in his designs to expand their business into supplying the military with training aircraft to complement their bomber and fighter contracts. Boeing saw the opportunity here as the war drum started beating in the mid-1930s and most countries began expanding their militaries. The Air Force and Navy would need to train pilots before they could fly those bombers and fighters, and Boeing was determined to crack that market. Lloyd Stearman already had a good reputation in civilian aviation, so Boeing decided to stick with his name as a brand name when they acquired his company and started delivering the Stearman trainer to the military. Production of the famous World War II trainer began in 1936 and went through to 1945. Over 10,000 were produced, and many of these were put together years later with spare airframes and wings that didn't get made into complete aircraft on the production line. The Stearman trainer cost around $10,500 to build, which in today's money is about $200,000. This was about 1/5 of the cost of a Curtiss P-40 or 1/3 the cost of a Grumman Wildcat. The Stearman was built rugged, but it was also designed to be difficult to handle on the ground, to both scrub out students that were not cut out to be pilots early and prepare successful student pilots for the aircraft they would go on to fly. It didn't matter if you're going to fly bombers, transport, seaplanes or fighters, everyone started on the Stearman. Its forward visibility is designed to be bad on purpose. Most fighters were tail draggers, and due to long noses with big engines, they had no forward visibility. So it was important to learn how to weave when taxiing right from the very first flying lessons. It has a long and forgiving landing gear that can handle the roughest landings a pilot in training will throw at it. The fuel tanks in the top wing, instructional videos from the 1940s tell students to only fly with a full tank. This extra weight up high makes the Stearman a bit more difficult to handle. Talking to ground crew and modern pilots today, they all prefer flying it with half a tank for better balance, but they'll fill it up if they have a few flights like the 3 the Stearman is going to do today. The Stearman will ground loop very easily on landing. It has a large flat fuselage side, which combined with the vertical fin acts as a sail and wants to push the tail around. The high centre of gravity from the long landing gear and fuel tank in the top wing helps accelerate any yaw movement. Instead of correcting back to straight, once it starts, it just wants to keep yawing. Instructors say the Stearman isn't vicious, but it is honest, and it punishes sloppiness. So if the nose is left adrift even a few degrees on rollout, it can develop into a ground loop very quickly. This was great for teaching pilots because the consequences of poor discipline in a fighter are much worse and a disaster can unfold fast. A Stearman lands at about 60 miles per hour. Most fighters like P-51s or Corsairs land at around 100 miles per hour. After the war, the Stearman found a new life in the agricultural world, applying fertilizer to farms. In the 1950s, more than half of all crop dusters were Stearmans, and they could be bought for as little as $250 or around $3,400 in today's money. It's time to see what it was like taking to the air in the golden age of flight, so I'm going to stop talking now so you can hear this beautiful radial engine start up. found the rumble of the engine and the open cockpit added layers to the experience that you just don't get with other planes. You smell the burnt oil and the avgas more, you have the wind blowing past you, and it's louder without a canopy shielding you from the sound of the engine and the prop. As we started the takeoff run, the tail came up off the ground quickly. The Stearman accelerated along the grass strip, with each bounce feeling more like it was trying to take to the air, until it lifted off only 15 seconds after we started moving. Flying over the main beach, looking out past the wing wires at the ocean, waterfront apartment buildings and Mount Maunganui made me feel like I was in an old movie. Even for someone like myself who has flown in a lot of old aeroplanes, it was a surreal experience. If you have the opportunity to go for a flight in a Stearman, don't hesitate, just do it.